in the fear of a black man. It's the Black American experience that we truly look at, plagued by traumatic history and countless chances of accountability from all parties involved. Join us, and let's get in tune with the Transform You Black Commentary Show with your host, Marcus Hart. Now here's your host. Yo. Hello, my people. Welcome back to another installment of the Black Commentary Podcast. I am your host, of course, Marcus Hart. Today, we got a very important topic. We got to get off into this because this ain't being talked about nowhere. All right. Let's understand this. The housing eviction and the foreclosure moratorium have both ended on July 31st. Over the weekend, it ended. So in the coming days, in the weeks, there's going to be massive amounts of court proceedings for evictions and homes sent back into the housing inventory. Not too far away is the mortgage forbearance program, which will end in September 30th of this year. What will occur? Hey, I got my predictions. What do you think's going to happen? As a wise man would say, what the hell you think's going to happen? It's going to leave many Americans searching for new shelter or settling for unsafe conditions. Okay? So we need to talk about this, folks. This is serious. We got a pandemic that we're really trying to understand and fight through now, which was the driving force as to why the moratorium and the forbearance program was installed in the first place. It was to alleviate or put a stop to people losing their homes and ending up on the streets and causing a mass spreader event. CDC called for this. CDC said that, hey, if you do not make it a way for these folks to be able to maintain their shelter during this pandemic, and they end up on the streets, a super spreader event is inevitable. It's going to spread faster because you're going to have people without ways to properly bathe themselves, take care of themselves, lunging around germs and spreading it. Because they're gonna be digging out of garbage cans. Not only just the coronavirus that we will be worried about. We talking about potentially all other type of diseases that come with just being without shelter. Not to mention just bodies dropping all over the place. And who's going to get those bodies up? Because if you can't afford shelter, chances are you can't afford healthcare, can you? I'm pretty sure you can't. And this is what's really, really starting to piss me off about the so-called progressives. Okay, you got a Democrat-controlled government, Senate and House, and executive office. The executive office Democrat. And everybody, and all throughout the campaign, they've been just yelling about how they were going to save the day for everybody, and even pushing the whole single payer for Medicare. But we got this crisis we're facing right now that's about to blow up in our face with the housing situation. Yet it's not being talked about in mainstream media because they don't want to make Joe Biden look bad, and then Fox News, the conservatives, are not talking about it because then they don't want to look like they're begging for money. But we know that it's a real problem. It's a real problem. And then, we rather talk about the baby and homophobic situations when we got a whole total crisis that's getting ready to blow up in our face, and we got a pandemic on top of a pandemic that's days away from happening, even weeks. Because what's going to happen with this? First of all, let's start with with the renters, because as a renter myself, I'm a renter, as a renter, but my rent's paid, but like for those who haven't paid their rent the entire time during COVID, they are going to be hit the hardest because their case is going to be set as priority. What do you think is going to happen? Their case is going to be set as priority. If you're months plus behind, your case is going to get seen first. They're not going to go after the ones who just maybe a month behind. They're going after ones that's months plus behind. And if you don't have proper representation, or if you don't have that good relationship with your landlord, and if you can't prove that you could pay in a reasonable time period, you're getting put on the streets. And this is going to happen to countless amounts of Americans, and they talking in the millions numbers. We're not talking thousands or a couple of hundreds. We're talking millions of Americans who are going to be searching for a place to stay. And have the media did even a good job at all of placing any resources out there for where they can find some help to alleviate these woes? I'm pretty sure it's in the back of a lot of these American renters' heads on what they're going to do. A lot of them are already starting to panic. You can see the moving trucks moving up already, moving up to apartment buildings starting to be cleaned out, and lots of debris and junk all over the sidewalk and garbage. The garbage man's going to be really busy, and the junk man's going to be like, ooh, gold. And those who've been homeless for a while, like, oh, brand new couch. But this is concerning because, like, where are these people going to go? How many are going to open their doors? And the homeless shelters, are they going to have any room? It's going to be flooded. It's going to be chaotic. Because you can only do one or two things. When you have to move in an instant like that, you got to go move with a relative, maybe move with a friend, or move with that boyfriend, girlfriend, or you have to go crash at a hotel. How many days can you do that? How many days do you think you can live? How many months can you think you can live with a relative for? How promising is that? With no income, or maybe you got unemployment. It's a problem, folks. It's a problem that your government doesn't even care about. Your local government isn't even paying attention to. It's a problem that because the health inequality gap is so far stretched, especially in the Black community, where it's 12.2 times that of our counterparts, in which there's no savings prepared for this. There was no savings prepared during the pandemic. Yeah, they gave stimulus checks, but that little amount added up to what? For some, what, $2,400, what, $3,200, what, a couple hundreds, maybe a couple thousand or so, and then you had tax refund checks. But even then, some people that didn't have any other source of income. Some people weren't eligible for EBT. Some people weren't eligible for stimulus. I know I didn't get the first round or two of stimulus. I didn't see a stimulus check until like the third round, and I was surprised I got one. I was like, why am I getting one? I didn't even know why I was getting one. It was weird. But these are the things that we don't talk about. These are the things that people try to hide because they shame about, what they're going through. And people are going through it. People about to go through it. People about to go through it. What are we going to do to help them? Is there a plan? Is your fearless Democratic leaders in these positions prepared to help them? Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like they're prepared to help, especially these renters who we know most of them are of lower income status. Most of them are not making 100,000 or 150,000 plus, nowhere near that. Most of them, majority of them, they're all somewhere below the poverty line, or or slightly above, or doing okay. Now, me on the other hand, I do make six figures a year, but I choose to rent. That's a personal choice of mine. But for those who are not fortunate like me, who weren't able to keep up with their rent throughout the pandemic, what do they do? Now, a lot of people will say, well, they should have pulled themselves up by the bootstraps and want to go get a job. They shouldn't have been spending that money. They should have been spending that unemployment. They should have been just paying something on it. Because like a lot of individuals, believe it or not, they thought that the housing eviction moratorium mean that your rent was also forgiven. They thought that, like, if you just went ahead and just let the money that you was getting from the government, just kept it to yourself and just, did whatever with it and just avoided paying rent as a priority. And this is a mindset that we have to change, that, like, rent comes first. This is something we have to practice as a financial piece of our education, is that, like, rent comes first. But people put rent at the bottom because, like, the minute they heard that the government was being pressed by the CDC to roll out this housing eviction moratorium, they thought that rent meant, forgiven, that they thought they was going to be rent free forever until this pandemic fizzled out. But no, all those months that you did not pay was not forgiven. You stacked up mounds of money. It's going to be so hard to get out of that. And then the worst part about an eviction is that it goes on your, well, in the state of Wisconsin, at least, I don't know about most other states, but for the most part, in the state of Wisconsin, it goes in public records, just like uh, any other collection debt. That whenever you get getting sued, so someone can tell me, if you're listening, if that is the same case in your particular state as well. But it counts against your credit, just like a mortgage would. So when people go to pull your credit, they see that you was evicted, that you got a lawsuit against you. When you try to apply for a job, they see, and they do a background check, that public record comes up. How embarrassing is that? So there's going to be lots of people being tagged with this label of not paying their rent. So there's some help. I got a couple of resources that I'm going to provide at the end for those who may be coming face to face with a judge very soon, or need to work it out with the landlord. There are resources out there, since our government are not doing anything to help us. Okay, help is out there. Help is on the way. And by the way, for those who are living in a housing and urban development or veteran housing and federally backed finance single family home or housing project of some sort, your evictions won't hit you until after the 30th, because the federal will hold them off. Your federal government will hold them off into September 30th. Mr. Joe Biden, came out and announced that over the weekend. And by the way, there was a protest too, just yesterday, August 1st, this August 2nd at the time of this recording. August 1st, yesterday, there was a protest in D.C. A lot of people were waving their signs about housing being a human right. And rightfully so. It should be a human right. I mean, if you have a government who said that they were going to help you throughout this pandemic, this crisis, this economic crisis on top of the pandemic, but now we're faced with a massive housing crisis and these evictions, just sending people homeless. Yeah, people strongly believe that. Yeah, I have a right to a safe place. I have a right to have a roof over my house, my home. It's not my fault that COVID have stripped away my income, or have put me in a predicament, where I could not find other means of ensuring that my rent is paid. So I need your help, because this is out of my hands. So there was a lot of people protesting and for the government, calling the government to do something about it. But of course, what they do, they sit in they little safe little desks, behind their little safe little desks, and they safe little offices. Their rent's paid. Well, they got, most of them, they don't have rent. Can you imagine that? So they have their pensions, and they're good health care. They're fine. You, on the other hand, what are you gonna do? So let's talk about something else. Okay, so we just dealt with the renters. What about those who own homes, who was facing foreclosure, and then the foreclosure moratorium was enacted? So there's going to be a lot of homes going into foreclosure as well. So, but the crazy thing about this is, with the moratorium closing, ending for the foreclosures, and then you add on the mortgage forbearance program, the mortgage forbearance program. What that did, that that lower interest rates um, and that also put a hold on um, some of the mortgage payments, and and a lot of other incentives were given out for mortgages. So what that's going to do, and surprisingly, it's only going to return about 11%. It's going to cause an 11% increase to the housing inventory, to the housing inventory market, for new houses to be bought um, and purchased. But the thing about it is, because the medium home prices went up 24%, and you can blame that on recession, low interest rates. So the fact that interest rates were at an all-time low, you had medium home prices went up. So, everybody was winning during this time, who owned homes and saw that their homes, now were higher in value. Isn't that cool? So there's going to be a lot of people trying to sell. There's still a lot of people, the homes been buying and selling, for a while. And, the home, you add in the home buyers, boom, so there's been a housing boom during these past couple of years. And then government supported back loans and all these other crazy, incentives, that's been just driving up the medium home prices. Even with all of that, it's not enough to lower the prices with foreclosures coming and then mortgages, not being able to be afforded anymore. So people are going to just end up just selling, or trying to refinance. And if they can't refinance, they're just going to sell. And those houses are going to return back to the market, back into inventory. And so this is actually a 40-year low. Since there's only been this many inventory of houses available to the market. So that, in theory, there's not enough houses. There's not enough houses across America to go around. So even if people wanted to, just say, hey, I'm just gonna still go buying, before you even make an offer, someone else has already been put in the offer and they already going to close it. So it's pretty nuts out here, So and I've been trying my best to buy my first home for the past year now, and every time I find a home that that I like, the minute that I call, well, we already got a couple offers and it's going to be going to closing soon. So I get. They said, unless you got X amount of money to waive at the seller now, this thing about to be gone. And I can't believe it. I can't believe what I'm hearing, because dude, I got to do more saving. I got to do more podcasting because I can't compete with these people out here that's buying up this inventory. Again, there's not going to be nothing left. There's not going to be nothing left. And for that to be the crisis that we're facing, and then you add in the fact that so many people are being evicted, and they're going to be either bunched up in a home, and if you got a home that's bunched up, people are going to be frustrated. There's going to be an increase in the domestic disputes that's going to turn violent. You're going to have people just heavily frustrated, heavily congested, then and then you're going to have a lot of saturation in areas that probably wasn't saturated before, becoming more saturated, or areas that's already saturated just blooming up hot, as a hotbed for just constant interaction. And when you got constant interaction with constant different people from different parts of the city coming in one place and intermingling, there's bond for increase in violence. There's bond for an increase in um, just crime. You got just ruined emotions, ready to fly off the hammer, and then food deserts. Where food shortages is going to become an issue. Food, there's going to be plenty of food shortages. Like they giving out more food on EBT SNAP cards and the food stamps than they are, the money. And unfortunately, in a lot of these communities, you got individuals selling the food stamp, the EBT. And when I ask, like, why would you do that? It's always my question. Why would you do that? But we you see why. A lot of people became very desperate. And a lot of people are still very desperate. And a lot of people are making rash decisions because of all of this anxiety and all this uncertainty with the future. The future has just turned it to, where everybody was just enjoying the summer. Everybody was very, very glad that that they can come out of the house, but now they're gonna wish that they can have a house to go return back to, because like all of the partying that they did all this summer, and all of the online shopping, because Amazon was pulling up to a house every day, and not to mention DoorDash has made their money, Grubhub has made their money, Uber Eats has made plenty of money. All these delivery services, has made money because people were buying, putting on more weight, spending money, but not mindful of what was to come, making their future more and more unsure. And then the government, with no plan at all in sight, act like they did not foresee this. Okay. And you want to, and we want to continue to vote in these same incompetent individuals. Why? You give me a good reason why we should continue to vote in incompetent individuals who do not care about your well-being. I'm going to leave for you to think about that, and we're going to talk about that on the next show. Because, like, me personally, this is not a black and white thing right now. This is truly a shared American issue. This is a black commentary show, sure enough. And like, I know there's going to be some people that's going to be hit harder than others. But one thing is for sure, we are going to have to shoulder the burden of what's to come, one way or another. And before I let you go, if you are someone who's going to be facing eviction, or you know that you going to need some help, or you got a foreclosure that you're going to be dealing with, the HUD, so housing, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, they got resources on HUD.gov, so there are resources available, but your incompetent leaders won't tell you that. They won't mail you a pamphlet in the mail to tell you, like, hey, won't you go here and check this out? They won't give you anything. They won't knock on your door. They'll knock on your door for doggone vaccinations. They will vaccination. They're bugging the hell out of you about these vaccinations. That's all you hear. Go get your vaccinations. That's all you hear. Vaccinations and stuff about the baby. Like, come on now. Like this. Just how does this benefit me right now? And, the vaccination, the personal choice, but I still need a shelter. So if that's you, visit HUD.gov. That's HUD.gov. You can also visit the housing. You also call the housing counseling agency. The housing counseling agency number is 1-800-569-4287. That's 1-800-569-4287. You definitely want to hit that number up. They will direct you to where you need to go to help you out. There's 400 organizations nationwide that is providing some type of support or help for those who's going to be displaced or those who are facing a possible displacement or just going to be losing their home. And if for most local areas, if you simply call 211 like 911, except just take the 9 and place the 2 in front of it, you should be able to get some direction on where you can go, what you can do to stop the bleeding before you leak the hell out and die. In turn. And then there's lsc.gov too. lsc.gov is another good resource. And then Treasury, the U.S. Treasury, they have a couple of resources as well. That's possibly that could help with like rent. So if you low income, the Department of Treasury, they have resources. So treasury.gov might have some resources, but keep in mind we're talking about millions of people who's going to be scratching and looking for some of the same resources that you're going to be looking for. So most of these cases are going to be looked at, but when I say that it's going to be backed up, if you don't get in front of the line now, it's going to be really, really backed up. If you don't act now, if you are one of these potential individuals who is going to need the help, during this crisis. So again, I'm just the messenger, and I'm doing, the work in which the CNNs and the Fox News won't do. Until next time, I'm your host, Marcus Hart. Don't forget to share this boop right here. Visit transformupodcast.com for more exclusive podcasts that's similar to this one, and also to watch the playback of our show. You can also visit the Black Commentary on YouTube. Just simply search the Black Commentary Show. We will pop up. Hit that subscribe button and binge a lot of our previous episodes. Many blessings, peace, and lots of love. We out of here.